We're here in Los Angeles with Wes and Harlan, and we're going to explain to you why splitting lanes on a motorcycle is a good thing to do. Welcome to RideApart. Wes, you're an experienced rider. Mm-hmm. You've ridden motorcycles all around the world. You've ridden here in America on different states where you can split lanes. Now you're in California and you couldn't while you were in New York. What's your take on it?
You know, the first time I ever split lanes was on my very first riding lesson in London when I was 16. Very first time I ever ridden a bike on the road. They threw us on these little 125s. We're just like, here you go, here's traffic. This is, central London. So we just went out, straight out of the car park, straight into traffic. We did it. So I've never not split lanes. Right. That's been a problem with legality sometimes. But it's just what motorcycles do. It's just how motorcycles operate.
Yeah. No, you're talking about legality problems in America. I mean, all over Europe, we can split lanes.
Everywhere in the world, lane splitting is legal and encouraged because it's a safe, economical thing to do. It's how motorcycles get around. But in 49 states outside of California, it's illegal and the cops will come down on you hard. Yeah. I've got a stack of reckless riding tickets like this from where I lived in New York. And none of it was reckless. All of it was, stop traffic, go to the front of the queue of traffic. Yes. Just normal common sense stuff to the rest of us. And for some reason, those 49 states just hate it.
Yes. Okay, Alan, you've ridden in Philly, and now you're here in California. So you've actually experienced it also in the States. What's the change been like for you?
Yeah, well, riding in Philly, not splitting lanes, that's kind of, we took it for granted, you don't split lanes. As soon as I moved back to LA, I see all these motorcyclists riding through traffic, and as soon as I caught on to it and I felt comfortable doing it, I wouldn't have it any other way now. It's really, it's the only way to get around LA.
Exactly. So I also started riding motorcycles in London in a busy city, and if I'd have been a part of traffic, of the car traffic, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. Pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists were just going through cars, stationary cars all of the time. Yeah. It was a shock to the system for me. It looked dangerous, but like you said, once you had a go and you experienced it for yourself, it wasn't as daunting. It looks quite, like you're doing something wrong. It looks quite aggressive. It looks like motorcyclists are trying to break the law, but actually there's a lot of room out there, and we're just picking our way through.
If you're sitting low in a car, sort of shelter from the environment around you, a bike comes by, 15 or 20 mile an hour faster, it looks like warp speed, and it looks like this incredibly irresponsible, dangerous thing to do. And it couldn't be any different, any more different. It's safer, it's more responsible. On a motorcycle, we don't have crumple zones. We don't have, this built-in safety, so we have to take charge of that ourselves. And part of that is splitting lanes, putting us in charge, allowing us to control our interaction with cars, allowing us to control our environment. And it's that control that gives us safety when we don't have the whole cage around us.
Yeah.
The width of our vehicle is as wide as our shoulders. That is the widest point, right? And so what's that, like 2 feet, 3 feet? So long as we've got a good 4 feet or 5 feet wide, which is what the gap is between most lanes, it's more than enough and it's just fine, just plenty safe. And then what we also do is we sit up so high on bikes, and our vision is so unobstructed that it's very easy to spot when a car is going to change lanes. So it's not something, it's not out of control, it's not reckless, it's not dangerous, it's natural, and you're in control, and it's a very safe thing to do.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're in control. Mm-hmm. If an accident happens because of a irresponsible car driver, we have to take some responsibility for that. Yes. Because we're on a motorcycle. I don't expect, we have to be there's some things that are out of our control, of course, but we have to be ready.
When I get on a motorcycle, I'm taking my life into my own hands. Yes. That is a decision that I'm taking by riding a motorcycle, not operating a nice, big, safe SUV, right?
Yeah.
So even if somebody's, some cute girl is sexting her boyfriend and runs into me, I have to accept that's my fault because it's my life on the line, not hers. So it's my job to make sure it doesn't happen, not hers.
Yeah.
She can be a bad driver all she wants. It's my job not to let her run into me.
Yeah.
I have to spot that ahead of time, take a proper maneuvers to avoid it, and just not let it be an issue for me.
And you've also, as a motorcycle rider, I found as well, which is sometimes quite hard, but you have to let things go.
Yeah. You can't get angry.
If you get angry because something happens, unfortunately, your concentration is totally taken away, and you'll end up in an accident further down the road because you're still reliving the one that you've just had behind. So it's, we have all of these challenges, and that's part of the fun and enjoyment of riding a motorcycle. Okay, so let's get on the road. Let's go and show some lane splitting, and let's show it sensibly, show it how it's done, and have some fun on motorbikes. How about that?
No crashing, Jamie.
Wes, you're the one with injuries, man. No crashing? What's he talking about? He is Mr. Crasher.
Go. There was a study done in Belgium, and they determined that if only 10% of car drivers switched to motorcycles, all traffic, all congestion would drop 40% total. So you can imagine we're riding here today in LA. If just 10%, because this is a motorcycle city, but here not even 10% ride. If 10% switched, 40% less traffic in LA.
Amazing.
It'd be night and day,
But like going back to 1970.
And it's really not dangerous. It's actually safer than sitting in traffic. The big motorcycle safety Bible, the biggest study ever done on motorcycle safety was the 1981 Hurt Report. And it determined that 2/3 of all motorcycle car collisions were caused by the driver, not the bike, right? And the most common of those are rear enders, right? The one thing we don't have the ability to escape on a motorcycle is a rear ender. If we're set still, and a car comes up behind us.
It's a very bad situation for motorcyclists.
We can't see it coming, and it'll probably kill you because that's a big, 2-ton vehicle coming up and hitting you with you got a bit of leather on. Yeah. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And lane splitting completely removes rear enders from the equation.
Absolutely.
It puts you in charge, and on motorcycles, your safety is up to you, and it's your skill and your awareness and how careful you are that equals your safety, and lane splitting allows us to build that safety back into our riding.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, like the road also opens up as you lane split. Opportunities open up, and it's not that I'm searching for them, but they just naturally happen.
It's like you have your own lane.
Yeah, exactly.
The motorcyclist has his own lane. He's out of the car's way. The cars are out of his way. And it really just, it opens the road. You can actually, you can just see how much more efficient it is because you can fit motorcycles in between every lane, more cars on the road. I mean, the same amount of people that would be otherwise taking up all those cars.
Every time one of us splits lanes, you get to work faster. We are helping you. This is a good thing. Don't hate us. The U.S. Department of Transportation did a study. They looked at motorcycle accidents in California and then compared them to Texas and Florida, which same year-round riding, same demographics ride, right? But in Texas and Florida, you don't have lane splitting. In those two states, deaths caused by rear-end collisions to motorcyclists are 30% higher than in California. And that's not a statistical anomaly. That is a huge figure. So 30% less of us are dying because cars hit us in California because we have lane splitting.
And also, you really can read the road that's happening ahead, and you can see the cars, and you're just aware of everything around you. And when I'm in an actual lane of a car and I can't see the driver, and it's so much more difficult to see what's going on. And on a motorcycle, we don't have the comfort of her shell around us. If we crash, we're likely going to be hurt if we're involved with another vehicle. I've ridden in London just like yourself, and lane splitting, like you said, straight out of the test bay, you're doing it straight away. It's how we're brought up.
Yep.
It's not that we feel that we're doing anything wrong, it's just that that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's the same throughout Europe. I got to Asia and it's exactly the same in Asia. In fact, probably more so. They ride bikes wherever there's a gap.
Yeah.
But I don't see any motorcycle accidents, and people are just getting on with it.
But motorcycles make a great form of transportation.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm riding the fastest bike here today, and I'm still probably getting 50 or 55 miles per gallon, which is roughly what a Toyota Prius gets, right? Mm-hmm. The big difference is I'm moving. I'm never sitting still except at a red light. That Toyota Prius is sitting in traffic for extended periods, and even a Toyota Prius, even any of these hybrids, they get 0 miles per gallon when they're sitting still.
I mean, but you know, motorcycles around any city, around any town, around any village, a great mode of transport. I mean, so many different bikes as well that's out there for whatever choice you make. If you're a commuter, I mean, you're on an electric motorcycle today.
Yeah, no, I'm riding an electric bike, and I ride electric every day. You know, that's how I get to and from work. That's how I go to my friend's house. I run my errands on it.
When was the last time you bought a tank of gas?
You know, I
like that you have to think about this.
I'm annoyed.
If you're watching this show, when was the last time you bought a tank of gas and how much did you spend?
And you spent
and Harlan can't answer this question.
Another good thing that we need to do as well, they don't teach this in the instructor classes for novices, but really about covering the brake.
Yeah, so you're ready to react. In
ready
a
to react.
Second.
Absolutely.
There's no time between taking your hand off the handlebar and going for the front brake.
Yeah.
You know, you just, as you're able to, you can't always keep your fingers hovering over the brake lever, but 2 fingers, just keep resting on top of the brake lever, and if you need to use that front brake, you can go ahead and use it without having to go like that.
Yeah, 1 finger, 2 fingers, whatever it is.
I always keep my right foot over the back brake lever.
Yeah.
I always have my left hand covering the clutch lever so I can whip the clutch in real fast if I need to. And that all facilitates all the little, you know, maneuvers that we do, not just slowing down, but, you know, changing direction real fast, or, you know, dodging something, whatever it might be. It just helps you do that at low speed. You really need to have that really fine degree of control. Yeah. You want to be smooth and you want to be careful.
I mean, you know, I've got a friend who goes to work every day, and he says he's got Netflix on at the first set of traffic lights, and he watches a movie on his way to work. Now, I was astonished about that. I was like, what? And he was like, well, traffic's gnarly, traffic's bad. What else am I going to do? You know, I get bored. And I'm just like, you need to get a motorcycle, that's what you need to do. But we have to take responsibility that when we're putting our helmets on, there's lots of people on the road and they're not paying attention 100% of the time.
Lane splitting is safer. That's statistically proven, right? Lane splitting reduces congestion for everybody, including car drivers. It is a common sense, practical, safe thing for motorcycles to do. It is, more states in America should allow it. More riders should learn how to do it safely.
It's just it's a way for them to avoid dangerous situations. It's puts them in control of the situation. You know, it really it keeps them from being just a vulnerable target in a sea of automobiles.
No, I totally agree. And having ridden again motorcycles around the world and seeing how efficient motorcyclists are around the world, and how we're just getting through traffic, especially in congested cities. Mm-hmm. It just reduces that congestion so much. I mean, it's a no-brainer almost, and we've got great roads here in America. If they could allow it in some other states, I really see it as being a positive thing for us, and maybe they can actually at that point look upon the helmet law as actually
cause a few more of those passed.
You know, it's just, you know, that's where more lives can be saved, I'm sure.